2016, Module 3, Part 2. We are looking at query design. We're going to be working with a one-table query. So in Modules 3 and 5, we will be going through many types of queries that we can do within Access. Each query will be in a separate segment or separate part to the video series. So this is our first one using query design. So we should be in our Riverview database. And we're going to begin a query. So we want to go to Create. And most of the time, we're going to be using query design. There are 4 query wizards, and we will use each of those before the end of the semester. But you will not be using the query wizard in Module 3. We did the first one in the simple query wizard. We will do the other 3 in Module 5. So we're going to click on Query Design. Now we're going to get the same Show Table box that we see when we build our relationships. So if we wanted to add the owner table, we would either double click on owner, or we could single click and click the add button. And if you're done selecting your tables, then you're going to go ahead and close this box. Now, just like in our tables, if you discovered that you forgot to add a table, you can get to the Show Table button here on the ribbon, and it will open it back up for you. I like to usually hover over that bottom border of my table box. So I get the 2 arrows, and then I click down and enlarge it till the scroll bar disappears so that I can see all of the fields. So if I want to add a field, let's say I decided I wanted to add the last name, so I double clicked on it. When you double click, it's going to add in the first available column. So then I could double click on first name, double click on city, double click on email. So notice it always will select the first available column to the right and add to it. Now, if I decided I forgot to add the owner ID, and I wanted that to be the first field, if you click on a field, you can drag it to the column where you want it to be. So I'm able to drag owner ID down to the first column, and what this will do is it will put it first and shift every other column 1 column over to the right. So it doesn't overwrite the column that you drag it into. It simply shifts everything to the right and places it where you specified. So if you do need to place a field where you want it, you have to drag and drop. Otherwise, you can double click if putting it in the first available column to the right is acceptable. When you're done putting your fields in, you can click Run, and it will show you the query results. Now notice it's not listed here in our object pane yet, and it simply is called Query 1. It's not until we save it, so we're going to push the Save button. We're going to type the name Owner Email and click OK. And now you can see It added that query to our list and saved it for us. Because we're going to be entering so many queries, I'm going to go ahead and when I'm done working with a query, I'm going to go ahead and close that. But one thing you can do is notice we can scroll through. We can add records, but if you don't have all the fields of your table and you add a new record in the query, you're going to be missing that information when you go to look at the full table. But let's say that we knew that record 2330, he doesn't like to be called Jimmy. He wants to be called James. So we're going to change that name. And then maybe we also know that he changed his email. So I'm going to go over to the email account and type the whole thing at, oops, I got a typing error in there. The whole thing at example.com. Notice the pencil is still there, so my changes are not saved. The pencil disappears, my changes are saved. So let's go ahead and open up the owner table. Now you can see if we find record 2330, the first name is changed and so is the email address. So if you make changes to the data in your query, it will also update the data in the table. Like I said, I would use caution with adding records when you're in a query because our query does not have any of the address information. So that would all be blank. So I'm going to go ahead and close the query and we're ready to start our next query.